ASEAN remains relevant and will continue to strengthen. Hello and good afternoon. I'm Mohana Priya. Welcome to News on 2. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad says that ASEAN has remained a relevant regional grouping in the world and should continue to strengthen its cooperation in facing challenges and influences by superpowers. He also said many may claim that today's ASEAN is not as active as before, but they could not deny the fact that the 10-member economic bloc is among the few regional groupings which has survived so far.
That ASEAN is one of the few peaceful and stable regions in the world. And because we achieve this because we work together. So ASEAN is still very relevant, and I hope that it will continue to strengthen itself with greater cooperation between the member countries of ASEAN.
The Premier said this at a dialogue session on balancing relations with the superpowers in the context of ASEAN at the Royal University of Phnom Penh in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Also present were Foreign Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah, International Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Darul Laking, and RUPPS Rector Dr. Chet Chili. Tun Dr. Mahathir further noted that ASEAN is an association of countries which retain their identity and their own way of doing things, but the bloc would make a common stance in terms of trade. The Premier is currently on a 3-day official visit to Cambodia, which began yesterday. Meanwhile, Tun Dr. Mahathir was conferred an honorary fellowship award by RUPP for his outstanding achievement in decades for the betterment of the world and modernization of Malaysia, as well as curing the political, social and economic disease of Malaysia. Later, the Premier and his wife, Tun Dr. Siti Hasma, attended a dinner with the Malaysian diaspora. Some 300 Malaysians working and residing in the Cambodian capital attended the dinner. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has urged Muslims to do away with the mentality of depending on others for aid and assistance. He said Muslims must constantly strive to be industrious, honest and efficient to enhance their socio-economic standing.
Kita amat sedih kerana di mana-mana saja kita dapati orang Islam miskin dan mereka berharap kepada pertolongan orang. Kenapa? Kerana kita tak berusaha. Kita tak perlu bantuan orang lain. Kalau kita sanggup bekerja, menggunakan tenaga kita, menggunakan kecekapan kita.
Earlier, the Premier received a courtesy call from the Cambodian Muslim leader cum senior minister in charge of Islamic affairs, Datuk Dr. Othman Hassan. At the same event, Tun Dr. Mahathir was also honoured with the Muslim Exemplary Leadership Award by the Cambodian Muslim community in recognition of Malaysia's role in assisting the Muslims in the country. The Ministry of Housing and Local Government hopes that the land acquisition process for the Highland Towers condominium, which had been left neglected for almost 26 years, can be expedited for redevelopment. Its Minister Zuraida Kamaruddin said the engagement process with all the interested parties had been concluded, but there was still a section of the residents who did not have the time to state their agreement officially. Speaking to the media after attending a program at the Kampung Baru Salak Selatan, Kuala Lumpur, Zuraida hoped the Selangor State Government via the Ampang Jaya Municipal Council could settle the land acquisition process this month before works to demolish the Highland Towers could be carried out by the end of the year. Zuraida was previously reported as saying that the Highland Towers would be demolished by June 2019 at the latest. There was a suggestion to redevelop the strategic location as a recreation park besides building 50 units of bungalows. On 11th December 1993, one of the 3 Highland Towers condominiums in Hulu Klang collapsed in a tragedy that took 48 lives. Coming up next, the police record statements from MAHB staff on KLIA system disruptions. Welcome back. Police have so far recorded statements from 12 Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad MAHB staff in connection with the disruption of the systems at the KLIA last month. KLIA Police Chief ACP Zulkifli Adam Shah said among them was a woman involved in handling the systems. Elaborating further on the matter, ACP Zulkifli said the KLIA systems providers would also be called soon to facilitate investigations. He said the case is quite complicated as it involves technical matters and needs assessments from the experts in the field. He also said the report of the investigations would be forwarded to Selangor Police Chief for further action. A system malfunction at KLIA was first reported on 21st August following the failure of its network system, affecting major functions such as flight information display system, check-in counters and luggage handling systems, as well as Wi-Fi connections. The case is being investigated under Section 427 of the Penal Code for mischief following a police report lodged by the MAHB. Operations at KLIA returned to normal 4 days after the MAHB replaced the network equipment. Transport Minister Anthony Loke Siew Fook says the Labuan port has the potential to be a transshipment hub for rice and other commodities in Malaysia due to its strategic location and natural depth. He said to realize this, the port must be fully optimized and backed by necessary policies for it to be properly regulated by the authorities. Speaking to the media after a briefing on the port's operation by Labuan Liberty Port Management Sdn Berhad (LLPM) and proposed new port tariffs by the Labuan Port Authority (LPA), Loke said that the Labuan Port's new port tariffs will be regulated by the LPA. He also said the LPA, being the port regulatory body, would have a strategic discussion on the port's long-term plans and on turning it into a transshipment hub. He also said the ministry was looking into the full development of Labuan Port to help drive the island's economy. He added that although Labuan Port's current size limited further development, new initiatives taking place in the future would help transform its look. The minister was on a one-day working visit to Labuan yesterday. Primary Industries Minister Teresa Kok urges local companies, especially manufacturers of palm oil-based products, to use the Love My Palm Oil logo on their products as part of efforts to promote the commodity in local and international markets. Commenting further on the matter, Teresa Kok said her ministry wants the country's palm oil industry to produce 5-star oil and the products to be 5-star products. She also slammed local companies that put a no palm oil label on their products meant for sale in Europe. Kok said the government had been working hard to counter the perception among European countries linking palm oil production in Malaysia to environmental destruction and a decline in the orangutan population. She added that the ministry also takes a serious view of complaints about foreign products with a no palm oil label being sold in Malaysia. The minister said this after a briefing on Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil MSPO certification and a dialogue with oil palm growers and smallholders at Hotel Katharina in Batu Pahat, Johor. The Ministry of Finance will ensure a sufficient allocation is made available to settle SRC International Sdn Berhad's upcoming interest payment of 43.02 million ringgit to the Retirement Fund Incorporated or KWAP. Now, based on the schedule of repayment, the payment date is 30th September. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng, in a statement released yesterday, said the amount in question is part of the balance of financing of 3.8 billion ringgit, which ends in 2022. He also said as the financing is guaranteed by the government and to avoid a default on the repayment, it is the duty of the government to ensure that the schedule of repayment is adhered to. The latest payment of 344.68 million ringgit was made on 29th August and encompassed the 300 million ringgit principal and interest of 44.68 million ringgit. The minister further noted that the Finance Ministry will ensure a sufficient allocation is made to settle the financing to KWAP and proves the federal government's ability to manage the financial burden of the 1MDB and SRC scandals inherited from the previous administration. Kedah Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Mukrisdun Dr. Mahathir says a total of 251 million ringgit of land premium payments is yet to be paid by developers, government-linked companies and government agencies in the state until now. He said the areas involved 480 applications that had been approved by the Land and Mineral Office through land ownership, and the approval could be revoked if the parties failed to pay the premium. With regards to that, Datuk Seri Mukris said he had asked the Kedah State Land Administration to take stern action such as forfeiting the rights in an effort to reduce the areas of land revenue. He also said the state government, through the Land Office, had only managed to collect 18 million ringgit from 70 million ringgit of the total land revenue collection. He said the state government anticipates revenue of 710 million ringgit this year, and of the total, 426 million ringgit was placed under Kedah Land Administration. The Kedah Menteri Besar further noted that various initiatives needed to be drafted to further streamline the mechanism and strategies for collecting land revenue through existing sources in terms of land ownership, collection on land tax areas and premiums. He said this after launching the Dashboard Executive Information System (EIS) application on the latest land revenues in Alostar. Coming up in sports, the Harimau Malaya confident of victory against Indonesia. The Football Association of Malaysia, FAM, is confident that the Harimau Malaya squad can beat Indonesia in their Group G opening match of the World Cup 2022 Asia Cup 23 second round qualifier at Stadium Gelora Bung Karno in Jakarta on Thursday. FAM President Datuk Hamidin Mohamad Amin said the victory is within reach if the players fully focus on the game without being distracted by the immense pressure expected from the fanatical Indonesian fans. Speaking at a press conference after a Doa Selamat ceremony for the national squad and fans at his residence, Datuk Hamidin said because of the desire to qualify for the final round of the Asia Cup 2023, Harimau Malaya definitely need to start by collecting 3 points.
Kalau pemain fokus dan pemain menumpukan perhatian di dalam padang selama 90 minit tanpa mengira di tekanan di luar, saya ingat pasukan kita akan dapat membawa balik 3 mata.
Datuk Hamidin said he believed the Harimau Malaya squad could cope with the Garuda fans, as evident when they beat Indonesia to lift the AFF Suzuki Cup in 2010 in Jakarta. Asked on the security aspect, he said the Harimau Malaya squad are scheduled to go to the stadium by bus on match day, adding that several Malaysian policemen had gone to Jakarta to discuss security arrangements with their Indonesian counterparts. And that concludes this afternoon's edition of News on 2. In our top story today, Hurricane Dorian kills at least 5 in the Bahamas and could generate a storm surge. We'll be back at 7 this evening with more updates. Till then, I'm Mohana Priya. Thanks for watching.